Hi everyone, and welcome to Sports Watch. If you like the content, please press the bell icon for further notifications and like, share, and subscribe to the channel. What's up with Jon Jones? At one point of time, he says he's retired, and at the other point of time, he says that he is still waiting for the right offer and maybe will spring right back. Jones, at the current time, is just delaying and in the process playing with Tom Aspinall's mind. He knows that he is the face of the UFC, so as to say, and Dana White is his lapdog, in a sense. Jones had only two fights in the last 5 years. That's insane. He just became the heavyweight champion of the world and the longest reigning heavyweight champion just by pure inactivity. He has had two fights in the last 2 years, and now he's already the longest reigning heavyweight champion. Any other champion in any other division would have been stripped long time back. Islam Makhachev just got stripped of his lightweight title because he wants to fight for a second belt at welterweight. Ilya Topuria had to let go of his featherweight title because he wanted to fight for the lightweight belt. But Jon Jones somehow is exceptional to all these rules. He hardly fights for the UFC, and yet he is still the champion. And Dana White doesn't seem to have any problem with that. Tom Aspinall became the interim champion in 2023. He has now become the longest reigning interim champion in history. And still, the UFC are not certain whether a fight with Jones and Aspinall does materialize. This delaying is probably helping Jones and it's hurting Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is ready and willing to fight, but Tom is being sick and tired of the antics of John. That's exactly what Jones wants, to play with the mind of Aspinall, to make him angry so that when we eventually get in the ring, he becomes emotional and doesn't fight according to his game plan. The UFC pretends to be a neutral organization and an organization that, unlike boxing, isn't corrupt. But when you have the heavyweight champion of the world ducking his challenger for nearly 2 years now, you still don't have the power or the ability to strip him of his title. So, what does that tell about the organization? You are not practicing what you're preaching. Jon Jones, at this point of time, should most definitely be stripped of the title. If you're not fighting for the belt, let someone else do it. He is bargaining in the UFC for a bigger paycheck. Jones obviously has the right, after his long standing relations with the UFC and his record, to have a great payday at the end of his career. But those negotiations are not seeming to work. Every After every fight week or UFC main event, Dana White gets asked the same question, whether there is a deal in place between Aspinall and Jones. And he always answers that they will get that fight done. But the question is when. It was supposed to be in International Fight Week, but that's not certainly not happening anymore. The longer this delay takes place, the more it favors Jones. And Jones isn't getting younger. He's 37 years of age. And Aspinall is 32. Deep down, he doesn't want to give Aspinall the same advantage that Daniel Cormier once gave him. When DC fought Jones the first time, the age difference between the two of them was huge. and that obviously played a factor in the fight. Jones, being the younger fighter, obviously had the speed advantage over DC and the numerous physical advantages added to that. Now, Aspinall being 32 is definitely much more faster than Jones. So, Jones is calculating in his mind whether he wants to get in the ring with a young and hungry lion. He will only fight when he definitely feels that he has a chance or a path of victory. Otherwise, he will stay retired. He says that he has communicated his intentions to the UFC many times, and why haven't they announced it? What has he communicated? His intention to retire? But Dana says the quite opposite thing, that they are willing to make that fight and it will be made. So either one of them is not telling the truth. And guessing from what is in front of us is most likely Jon Jones. Jones wants Aspinall to take a fight in the middle of all this chaos and lose. That's his obvious intention. Aspinall defended his interim title and won, much to the disappointment of Jon Jones. He is the first champion in UFC history to defend the interim title. And Jon Jones, at this point of time, is blatantly ducking him. There are no two ways about it. You may be the most glorified and the greatest mixed martial artist in the whole world, but at the point of time, you are not just ducking Tom Aspinall, you are just hurting your own legacy. And it's not a question of whether Jones is afraid of Aspinall, because he isn't. He just doesn't want to give him that same opportunity. Because Jones very well knows that this is a fight where he might lose. Just like the Francis fight, where he kept on avoiding the fight till Francis eventually got tired of his antics and left the company. And Jones then fought for the vacant title against Cyril Gane. Now he's playing that same trick with Tom Aspinall and hoping that Tom might take some fight in between and not get the outcome that he desired. And if that fight somehow falls through, then Jones will walk away into the sunshine and he would say that I told you so. So, what the UFC needs to do is to take a stance and probably give Jones an ultimatum, either fight in the next couple of months or relinquish the title and let some other guys fight for the belt. It's the dream of every fighter fighting the UFC to fight for the championship. You can't have someone just block one division just because he wants a better paycheck. You need to give others that opportunity as well. The heavyweight division was once the most glorified division in the company, and now, thanks to Jon Jones, it's once again the dullest division. Hardly fights get made in the heavyweight division, and it once again is in a state of coma. Despite Aspinall bringing it back to life with those great knockouts, once again it has entered this dull stage where there are hardly any fights in the heavyweight division. No one is talking about them. Who are the next fighters who are in line apart from Jones and Aspinall? No one knows and no one seems to care. This is what the UFC has done to its heavyweight division. And the only way that they can somehow make amends is to make Jones fight Aspinall. They have to force Jones. They have to force his hand to take the fight or strip him. Voices of stripping Jon Jones are getting louder by the day. How long will the UFC allow him to remain thus untouched and carry on his merry way of denying legitimate contenders for the title? Let me know in the comment section what you feel. And if you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.